I came across this story, which might be one of the cleanest, most brutal betrayals I've read in a while. Not because it was loud or messy, but because it was precise. It started with a gut feeling. And honestly, I feel like whenever a story starts like that, you already know it's not going anywhere good. So this person had been with their partner for about 3 years. Nothing dramatic, no constant arguments, no obvious cracks. Just a normal, steady relationship. The kind where you fall into routine. You start talking about the future like it's a sure thing. And they also had a best friend in the picture. Someone close, trusted, fully integrated into their life. Which makes everything that comes next that much worse. And one night, their partner says they're heading to bed early. Long day, tired, nothing unusual. And at first, everything is normal. Until it's not. Around midnight, they get this feeling. For no real reason. Nothing specific triggered it. Just that kind of instinct that shows up out of nowhere and refuses to be ignored. And instead of brushing it off, they check their partner's location. They had shared their locations with each other like a lot of couples do. Though, to be honest, I never have. Not for any reason. It's just never been asked. Anyway, when she checks her partner's location, it's not what she expects. Or maybe it is. His location isn't at home. It's a hotel. Now, I think most people would try to rationalise that away at first. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe it's a glitch. Maybe there's some weird explanation. But instead of sitting with it, she gets in her car and drives over. And I don't know if that's bravery or self-sabotage. Maybe a bit of both. But I'm definitely like, you go girl. And you know what? That I have done. My partner and I didn't share locations, but I got this weird text from this chick one night saying that he was sleeping beside her. And yeah, I got in my car in the middle of the night and drove to his place. And sure enough, his car wasn't there. We do this because deep down I think we already know, but we still need that confirmation, the undeniable truth. So, she's sitting there in the parking lot, trying to talk herself out of going in. But she goes in anyway. And this is where it shifts from bad to almost unreal. Because as they're walking towards the entrance, they see a car they recognise. Her best friend's car. And at that point, I don't even know what you tell yourself anymore. Like, what's the logical explanation there? There isn't one that feels good. So now, it's not just suspicion. It's not just a weird location ping. It's something real. Something lining up a little too perfectly. And it's all too much of a coincidence. And somehow, this part genuinely impresses me a little. She keeps it together enough to go to the front desk and ask to be connected to the partner's room. No scene, no panic, just calm. Which is terrifying in its own way. So, the receptionist calls the room and the phone starts ringing. And not somewhere far away, not muffled through the walls, just a few doors down the hallway, close enough to follow. So they walk down the hall, literally tracking the sound, and she stops outside a door, and before she even has to knock, it opens. And yeah, it's exactly who you think. Her partner and her best friend, both just standing there, frozen. No scrambling, no excuses, no quick lies. Just that moment where everyone knows there's nothing to say. And that honestly says everything. And this part, this deserves mad respect. She doesn't scream. She doesn't cry. She didn't even ask any questions. She laughed. Like, actually laughed. Which I'm not gonna lie, might be the most unhinged reaction in that situation. Because it's not anger. It's clarity. It's that split split second where everything just clicks into place and there's nothing left to fight for. She basically says, "You two deserve each other," turns around and walks out. That's it. No dragging it out, no begging for answers, just done. She blocks both of them that same night, completely cut off. And for a little while after, she describes this almost numb phase, like her brain just hit pause so that she could function. Going to work, talking to people, even laughing like nothing happened. Which I think is a pretty common defense mechanism after something like that. Your mind kind of protects you, but it doesn't last. Eventually the anger creeps in. Not explosive, just this low, constant simmer. And that part feels very real, because it's not just about what happened that night, it's everything leading up to it. All the small memories that suddenly feel suspicious. The times that her partner was busy, times her friend cancelled plans. And now her brain is trying to connect dots that might have been there all along, or might not have, which is its own kind of torture. Then come the messages. Even though they're both blocked, both of them find ways to reach out. The best friend sends a long apology, saying it just happened, they didn't mean for it to go this far. All the usual phrases that somehow make it worse instead of better. The partner tries to get a message through a mutual friend, saying they need to explain. And this is where I think this story takes a really interesting turn, because they don't respond at all. Not out of spite, but because they realise something important. She doesn't actually want an explanation. And I get that, because what explanation fixes that? What version of offence makes that betrayal make sense? It doesn't. At a certain point, the fact it happened is the only information that you need. Everything else is just details. What hits harder, though, is what comes after. Losing a partner is one thing. Losing your best friend at the same time, that's a different kind of empty. It's not just your relationship that's gone, it's your support system too. The person you'd normally go to about something like this is part of the reason it happened. And that is tough. But despite all of that, she said something that I actually really respected. She doesn't regret how she handled it. Walking away, staying calm, not giving them a scene. That was one thing that she could control. And holding on to that is what's helping her get through it. Personally, I think a lot of people would have reacted very differently in that moment. I know I would have. Louder, messier, more emotional, more tears. And that's not wrong either. But there's something about just stepping back and removing yourself completely that feels almost final in a different way. That said, I don't think it makes the aftermath any easier. You still have to sit with it, process it, rebuild from it. And she was very honest about the fact that she's not okay yet, not even close, which, yeah, makes sense. So now I'm curious what you think about this one. If you walked into that situation, no warning, no denial, just instant confirmation like that, how would you handle it? And would you need answers before you could walk away? Thanks for listening to this episode of Quiet Betrayals. Catch you next time.